Hello, we're about 3/4 of the way through the World Bridge Tournament and the Canberra is approaching Bergen, our last port of call. Of our players, though, it now seems that Tony Forrester from Britain has no chance of taking the title, but the other three are still very much in contention. Sundelin from Sweden is pitting his technical abilities against the solid all-round skills of the Canadian Sami Kehela, and both of them have taken on the dazzling psychological talents of the defending champion Mahmood from Pakistan. Jeremy, is technical skill enough to prevail at this level of bridge?
Well, as you'll know, in international bridge generally, it's a question of rehearsed partnerships who practice for hours and hours on end. And there you tend to get a combination of a volatile player on the one hand, playing with a sort of safe, supportive type player on the other hand. And that seems to work very well. And in a way, that's why I find this tournament so interesting, because, of course, the partnerships are always changing. And so we get a direct comparison between the volatile player, like Zia, and the safer, more conservative player, like Sami. To answer your question in another way, I would say pure technical skill, completely devoid of imagination of flair, was probably not enough.
OK, well, what's the score now?
Sundelin, Sweden, plus 17. Mahmood, Pakistan, plus 21. Sami Kehela, Canada, plus 35. Tony Forrester, England, minus 73.
We join our players in the card room who've been playing for some time, actually. This is the fourth hand of the Chicago. Sami Kehela, who's the top right on your screen, sits north. Tony Forrester sits east. Sundelin, the dealer, is south. And Mahmood is west. It's game all. Oh, just 4 points. A miserable hand.
Pass.
11 balanced points.
Pass.
9 points and support for both majors.
Pass.
A nice hand. 16 points and 3 aces.
1 no trump.
A copybook strong no trump.
Pass. 3 no trump.
An automatic raised game.
So the contract is 3 no trumps to be played by Tony Forrester sitting east.
And they bid the hand exactly the same as they would in Puddleby-on-Marsh. So Sundelin leads the 2 of hearts. Mahmood puts down his dummy. Plays the 3 from dummy. The queen from north. And he takes that trick with the ace. And this is going to be a very difficult hand to play, you see. He's got, 3 diamond tricks, the king in his own hand, the ace queen in dummy, that's 3. 2 club tricks is 5, the ace in the east hand, the king in the west hand, that makes 5 tricks. He's won the ace of hearts, is 6. He's got the ace of spades in his own hand, is 7. But it's not immediately obvious where the other tricks are going to come from. And what it really turns on is guessing the position of some of the opponent's cards in the north and the south hands. Where, for example, is the spade king? Where is the club queen? Well, let's have a look and have a peep, which he's not allowed to do, at those north-south cards, and then we'll see that the spade king is in the north hand and the club queen is in the south hand. Well, he's not going to trust to that, I'm sure. So let's go back to the play. And he returns the 4 of hearts. A slightly surprising move. That's defender's suit. South plays the 5, west the 8, and north the 10. North continues with the 6 of hearts. East discards the 4 of spades. Jack of hearts from south. And the 9 of hearts from west. South presses on with the 7 of hearts. West lets go the 2 of clubs. North takes the King of hearts. And East throws another spade. So now the defence have taken their 3 heart tricks, and you observe that North has got a slightly difficult play at this point. He doesn't want to open up the spades. It would be fatal to open up the clubs, and he finds the best continuation in the end, but already he's had a problem. So he plays the Jack of diamonds. East plays the 6, South the 4, Dummy wins with the Queen. And now, yes, Forrester's been driven into the position where he has to open one black suit. He plays the 7 of clubs, North the 4, tries the Jack, no good. South wins the Queen. And now it's South's turn to give nothing away, not to open up the spades, not to do anything silly in the diamond suit. And once again, footsure, the defence find the right answer. By playing the 6 of clubs, gives nothing away. King from west, 5 from north, and East overtakes with the ace. Now, rather than rely on the diamonds breaking, he's going to try and exert some pressure with his clubs. Cashes the 10 of clubs. South follows with the 8. West lets go the 3 of spades. North follows with the 3 of clubs. Now comes the ace of spades. That's just in case there is a spade diamond squeeze. He's going to cash off his ace of spades first. 7 of spades from south, the 10 from west. North contributes the 2. Now comes the last club winner. And if that spade had been the king, South would have been squeezed, but it isn't. It's the Jack. Has to let West spade of queen go, and North follows, discards the 8 of spades. And so now he's driven to relying on the diamonds breaking, and as we can see, they don't break. South has 3 diamonds left, and so in the end, Tony Forrester had to concede a diamond trick to South, and he went 1 down. That was an extremely well played and an extremely well defended hand.
I didn't understand what Tony did there. Instead of developing one of his own suits, he deliberately allowed the defence to enjoy winners in theirs?
Yes, well, of course, this is a piece of expert technique. And the reason he did it was he deduced from the opening lead that the defence couldn't cash enough tricks in that suit to defeat him. So he threw the lead back to the defence in that suit with the hope that they would open one of his suits to his advantage.
Very clever. Let's look at it again.
So there are all the cards. The lead, the 2 of hearts. Forrester, declarer in 3 no trumps. West plays the 3. North the queen. Forrester east, the ace. And now, the problem with this type of hand is that he's not really in a position to see his tricks. He's got 2 club tricks, he's got 3 diamond tricks, that makes 5, a heart is 6, and a spade is 7. Of course, there are great possibilities for making tricks in the black suits, if he were to guess where the king of spades was, or where the queen of clubs was. But good players like Forrester don't like to commit themselves to guesses. So rather than do that, he relied on an inference that he'd been able to draw from that opening lead. You see, the 2 of hearts, likely to be the 4th from South's longest suit, suggests that South has only got 4. So rather than open up one of his suits for the moment, what he does is he returns the enemy suit. Plays back the 4 of hearts. South plays the 5, West the 8, and North takes the 10. North continues with the 6 of hearts. East lets go of 4 of spades. South wins with the Jack. West follows with a 9. Defence take their last heart trick. 7 from south. West lets go the 2 of clubs. North plays the king of hearts. And east discards the 5 of spades. And notice that Forrester's plan has already had a side effect, a beneficial side effect, that North at this stage could err, because if he played a spade, that would run round to West's queen, giving Forrester the extra trick he's looking for. Equally, if North tried a club, that would find the queen of clubs for declarer, because he put the jack on and South would contribute the queen, and so that would be equally fatal. But, unluckily for Forrester, North, Sami Kehela, found the right continuation, the jack of diamonds. 6 from east, 4 from south, and the queen from west. And now, Forrester has to tackle one of the black suits. So, keeping his entries intact, he plays the 7 of clubs, the 4 from north, tries the jack from his own hand, and luckily for him, loses to South's queen. And now notice, South is in some difficulty and has to do the right thing. If he played a spade, that again could present Forrester with his extra trick. Equally, if he plays a diamond, that would run round into the king 9 in the east hand, and that would also solve declarer's problems. But South was equally sure-footed. He returned the 6 of clubs. The king from west. North follows with a 5. East overtakes with the ace. Cashes the 10 of clubs. West discards a spade. And North follows with the 3 of clubs. And now Forrester's going to explore another possibility that he could have, that South will have both the spade guard and the diamond guard. And as a prelude to discovering about that, he cashes the ace of spades. South plays the 7, West the 10, North follows with the 2. Now comes the pressure card in the shape of the 9 of clubs. Now, if South had had the king of spades and the 3 diamonds, he would have been squeezed. He hasn't. His spade is the jack. He lets it go. West lets go the queen of spades. North follows with the 8. And now Forrester's driven to his last hope that the diamonds will divide. Well, as you can see, they don't. South has them all, and so Forrester had to go one down. But it was a wonderful demonstration both of dummy play and of defence.
The Canberra's been hugging Norway's coastline for the last few days, and now we followed it all the way inland to the head of the Geiranger Fjord. The valley's beautiful, a good place to unwind for a few hours. Theo Sundelin and I were chatting about bridge partners. His partnerships seem to have gone awry more often than the others in this tournament, yet he's a thoughtful and considerate player. And it's reassuring for ordinary players like me to discover that what he looks for in a good partner duplicates my list.
Make life easy for your partner. It's perhaps the first one. You can split it up. Make bids. Play cards which don't make him make mistakes. Don't allow him to make mistakes. You should never allow your partner to make a mistake if you can avoid it for him. If something bad has happened, your partner is probably the one who knows it best already, and he feels bad about it, so you shouldn't point it out. Save all discussions for later.
But should you discuss the hands afterwards at all? After all, you're playing with good partners, and they'll know if they've made a mistake.
Oh yes, but you should discuss your methods. If something comes up where you went wrong together, and it is due to a method you have or a lack of method, then you should obviously discuss it afterwards.
Are you a good partner?
I think so.
How have you fared in the tournament so far with the other 3? You've never sat down at a table with all 3 of them before. Let's start with Tony.
The best player in Britain, right? He's, as I have thought before, he's young. He's young at heart. He's very good technically. I think perhaps he could improve psychologically. His judgment of others.
What about Sami?
He doesn't bother with psychology much. He plays very steadily. It's like a cement wall you play tennis against. The ball bounces back exactly where you expect it to come.
You mean this is a compliment, not a...
Oh yes, very easy to play with. Perhaps also not so difficult to play against. He will do the correct things, and if you play against him, you will know that he's doing the correct things, and you can draw your conclusions.
Well, if you find his style so suitable to yours, what about partnering Zia?
That's a different kind of bridge. He's an adventurer in the bidding sometimes, and in defense he will do everything he can to deceive the declarer, thereby deceiving his partner as well. So you have to rely a lot on what declarer does, to trust declarer's play rather than Zia's cards. But if you guess well, you do very well with him.
And do you feel you have partnered well with him?
Yes, I feel fine playing with him.
And in fact, when we join them again on board, Zia and Pio are partners. Sami Kehela sits north, Zia Mahmood is east, Tony Forrester is south, and Pio Sundelin is west. It's the first hand of the Chicago Love All. Well now, 6-5 in the minors and 7 points.
Pass.
Some would indulge in an exotic flight of fancy. Sam is far too wise for that. He knows it's better to wait and come in later, perhaps.
Now that's a rather attractive 18 points with a 5-4-3-1 shape.
One spade.
Well, that's an automatic opening bid, of course.
10 points and 6 hearts.
Pass.
Yes, that's quite right. The hearts are too flimsy for a two-level overcall.
5 points, but he's got good trump support and a singleton.
2 spades.
Minimum, but correct.
2 no trump.
Profiting from his previous restraint, he can now show both his minor suits with one bid.
Double.
Showing his strength and indicating a possible wish to punish the enemy.
Pass.
This could be horrible, with only 2 cards in each minor.
3 spades.
Zia has suggested that he would like to play for penalties. Pio reasonably refuses to go along with that suggestion.
Pass. 4 spades.
He's been done out of his pound of flesh.
Pass.
Pass. Pass.
Having expressed his hand, he quite rightly leaves the decision to his partner.
So the contract is 4 spades to be played by Zia Mahmood sitting east. Jeremy, do you think he was a little disappointed with that contract?
Well, I think Zia, you see, who always likes to play for penalties, thought that he would extract a really pretty good pound of flesh because he had the ace, king, 9 and another club. But as a matter of fact, his pound of flesh would have been only a very insubstantial little mouthful. So, Forrester leads the king of diamonds, and Sundelin puts his dummy down. And what we see here is dummy, that's west, and Sami Kehela's hand at north. And Sami Kehela is defending against 4 spades. And we're going to look at it from Sami Kehela's point of view. That's at north. So south leads the king of diamonds, the 3 from west, north encourages with the 10, and east plays the 2. South continues with the Queen of Diamonds, the 4 from dummy, and before we see what Sami Kehela does, what would you play to trick 2 as North? So you've had a few moments to consider that. Now let's see what Sami Kehela makes of it.
Well, now this is a slightly difficult situation. If Tony has only a doubleton King-Queen of Diamonds, then my only chance to get 3 diamond tricks is by overtaking the Queen of Diamonds and giving him a ruff, and then hoping that he has a trick in one of the other suits. If he has a double King-Queen of Diamonds and I don't overtake it, then I'm never going to make my Ace of Diamonds because I have no quick entry. Now, what is he more likely to have, 3 diamonds to the King-Queen or doubleton King-Queen? Well, let's see what the clues are. In the bidding, first of all, he had a chance, since he knew I had long clubs and diamonds. When 2-no trump got doubled, if he had 3 diamonds, he knew I had at least 5, he might have come in with 3 diamonds. So that's one clue that he only has 2. The other is, if he has King-Queen third of diamond, being a first-class player, he would not give me this problem. After the King of Diamonds, he would lead a low one, I think, because he knows if I have 5 diamonds, 3 diamonds can't live. So he wouldn't put me in this position if he had King-Queen third of diamonds. I think I'll pay him a compliment and play him for a doubleton King-Queen of Diamonds, overtake it, and give him a ruff.
And Sami overtakes that with the Ace of Diamonds. East plays the 8. And that's the second trick to the defense. Continues with the 6 of diamonds. Relief. East follows with the 7 of diamonds. And Sami hoped South ruffs with the 8 of spades, and West plays the Jack of diamonds. 3 tricks to the defense. The 6 of spades from South, the 3 from dummy, the 9 from North, and Declarer wins that with the King of Spades. Only hope is that he can sneak a heart through. He's lost 3 tricks already. If he loses a trick to the Ace of Hearts, he's down. Cashes the Ace of Spades. South plays the Jack. West the 4. North discards the 2 of clubs. Cashes the Ace of Clubs. South follows with the 7. West the 4. And North the 6. East plays the 5 of clubs. 3 from South. Dummy ruffs with the 7 of spades. North follows with the 8 of clubs. Last hope for Declarer. Tries the 5 of hearts. North plays the 10. He plays the Queen. Has North ducked? No. South takes the trick with the Ace of Hearts, and that puts the contract 1 down. And that was very good defense by Sami Kehela.
What I find impressive is the depth of consideration these players give to a decision like that.
Yes, and you know, I could see him working it out, and of course the things that he was taking into consideration were, first of all, with 3 diamonds to the King-Queen, he might well have bid 3 diamonds, because he'd been invited to do so by that bid of 2-no trumps. And the second thing is, if he'd had 3 diamonds, he wouldn't have put Sami in that difficult position. He'd have done something else before playing the Queen of Diamonds. And he relied on his excellent partner not to make that sort of mistake and put him under pressure. And he did the right thing, of course.
Good. Well, let's recap on that then.
And here we see all 4 hands which illustrate the problems that Sami Kehela and North had in defending 4 spades. His partner, you may recall, led the King of Diamonds. West played the 3. He encouraged with the 10. And East followed with the 2. Now his partner, South, continued with the Queen of Diamonds. Dummy played the 4, and it was at this point that Sami had to make the right decision. He had to work out whether his partner had the King-Queen of Diamonds alone or King-Queen and another diamond. If he had the King-Queen of Diamonds alone, he had to overtake with the Ace and give him a ruff. If he had king, queen and another diamond, well then it was right to let the queen of diamonds hold the trick. And he used an inference both from the bidding and from the fact that he knew his partner to be a top-class defender to arrive at the right conclusion. It is perhaps a little ironic that had he done the wrong thing, that is to say, allowed the queen of diamonds to hold the trick, the fates were so perverse that the defence would still perhaps have prevailed. Because South could have played the ace of hearts, everybody would have followed, and if South continues with a small heart, North would have been able to ruff the heart with the 9 of spades and thus promote a trick for his partner's jack of spades. But that consideration doesn't deflect one little bit from Sami Kehela's fine defence.
Well, he made the right decisions then and later in the day, and he's been rewarded. Pio Sundelin is down to +8, Zia Mahmood is up just a little to +38, but Sami Kehela is well into the lead now at +62. Tony Forrester, of course, is down to -108. Sami, we're within sight of the end of the tournament now, and you very definitely have a chance of winning it. Do you find that knowing that influences your tactics in how you bid and play the hands you're getting now?
Well, frankly, I will continue to play the way I have played since the tournament started. Indeed, as I have throughout my bridge career, I play one hand at a time. My style of play is not suited to being a swashbuckler, like, for example, Zia. So I believe that in order to get the best results in bridge, you have to be true to your own style and to your own personality.
But surely winning the tournament matters to you.
Yes, of course it does. And if it came right down to the end and some special tactics were necessary in order for me to win, of course I would pursue them.
But you don't feel you've reached that point yet?
No, there's still a few hands yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now it's time to apply your minds to Jeremy Flint's bridge problem.
Last week, you may remember, I set you an admittedly tough dummy play problem. I gave you a little hint, and that was that the clue was contained in the bidding. And the clue was that East passed originally. Now, he's already produced the ace of hearts, and from West's lead of the jack of diamonds may be assumed to have the queen of diamonds. He cannot, therefore, hold both the king of spades and the ace of clubs. You may eventually have to fall back on the spade finesse, but if East has the queen of clubs and West the ace 10, you can succeed without relying on the spades at all. You should draw the remaining trump and play the 4 of clubs. Now, a glance at the full hand shows that the defence cannot prevent you establishing a club trick to dispose of your losing spade. If West plays low when you play a club, Dummy's 9 forces out East's queen. East can't attack spades, and when you play the king of clubs, Dummy's jack becomes established. Of course, if West rises with the ace of clubs, you do lose a spade, but then you only lose 1 club. This week, a bidding problem. As East, you deal yourself this attractive hand. What do you bid? And if you decide to bid 1 club, what do you rebid if your partner responds 1 diamond?
And you can find the details for that in this week's Radio Times. And of course, Jeremy will be back with the solution to put you out of your misery next week. But for now, from Jeremy Flint and me, goodbye.
This week's bridge problem and the answer to last week's can be found on CFAX page 266. For a copy of the booklet featuring the hands played in the International Bridge Club series, along with the problems and their solutions, send a £2 cheque or postal order made payable to Broadcasting Support Services to International Bridge Club, P.O. Box 7, London W3 6XJ. Sundelin International Bridge Club.
Takes off into 88 with a new series, Smallest Marker. Harry Carpenter presents all vintage years, starting from 1952.
Hello, welcome aboard the Canberra, where the World Bridge Tournament appears to have become a two-horse race. The Canadian Sami Kehela has wrested the lead from the defending champion, Mahmood of Pakistan, more than once, but they're both playing superbly. Tony Forrester from Britain probably feels now that he's not going to get a crack at the title, but I think that Sundelin, the Swede, has an outside chance. In any case, they're both playing exciting bridge. Jeremy, at this stage of the tournament, are the strains beginning to tell on our four players?
And that's a very interesting question, you know. If you mean fatigue, no. But tension, I think that is playing a part. And oddly, you see, Tony Forrester, who now no longer can win the tournament, I think he's playing better. I think it's given him a greater sense of equanimity. As far as the other three are concerned, it's only natural, as we grow close to the end, that they should feel more tense.
Well, let's have the scores then.
Sundelin, Sweden, +8. Mahmood, Pakistan, +38. Sami Kehela, Canada, comfortably in the lead at the moment, +62. And Tony Forrester, England, -108.
And we join the players at the third hand of this Chicago. Sami Kehela, who's the top right of your screen, is the dealer. He's north. Tony Forrester sits east. Sundelin is south, and Mahmood sits west, and east-west are vulnerable. Now he's got a good 6-card heart suit and void in diamonds, and 13 points.
One heart.
That's a straightforward opening bid.
8 points, 6 cards in a broken diamond suit.
Pass.
5 clubs and 11 points.
2 clubs.
Yes, that's the only really possible response. You'd receive a scowl from your partner if you replied 2 no trumps on that hand in this competition.
Well, he's got 8 points, but no shape.
Pass. 3 hearts.
Natural and forcing in the modern style.
Pass.
4 hearts.
And that becomes the contract. 4 hearts to be played by Sami Kehela sitting north. Seems pretty sensible to me.
Yes, it's a good game, and perhaps the only point worth amplifying is that I said that 3 hearts would be forcing. And that is true after a 2-level response. 1 heart, 2 clubs, 3 hearts forcing. 1 heart, 1 spade. 3 hearts, however, would not be forcing. So Tony Forrester leads the 5 of diamonds. Sundelin puts down his dummy.
Thank you.
If Sami can make this contract, he will extend his lead. And provided there are no bad breaks, he should do. So 5 of diamonds from east. The 6 from south, notice he hasn't, used dummy's ace. The king from west. And north roughs that with the 2 of hearts. Now he tries the ace of hearts. East plays the jack, and that'll make Sami a bit nervous, I think. The 3 from south, 4 from west, and of course we can see that east has no more hearts. So he continues with the king of hearts. Ah, yes, and east discards the 8 of diamonds. Sami follows with the 8 of hearts from the south hand, and the 10 of hearts from west. The queen of hearts from north. East discards the 10 of diamonds. Sami lets go the 7 of diamonds from dummy. And west plays the 7 of hearts. Now I wonder I wonder how he's going to try and counter this bad break.
Well, let's see. It would be a bit premature to play clubs right away, because if I play the king of clubs and a club now, even if the finesse is right, they might be able to cut me off the dummy, because Zia can wait for the third round of clubs and then rough it. I think what would be a good idea would be to give him his heart trick now and maybe discard a spade from the dummy, leaving a doubleton queen. Maybe that way I might tempt him to open up spades for me. That way I can only lose 2 spades, a heart, and I can discard my club on the ace of diamonds. Yes, I think that's probably the best chance, although I really don't think it's going to work against a player of Zia's caliber. Still, it's worth a try.
And so he plays the 5 of hearts, 2 of diamonds from east, 3 of spades from dummy, and Zia's in at west with a 9 of hearts. So that's the first trick to the defense. Now, will Zia fall for that, I wonder? No. He plays back the 9 of diamonds. He's not going to help at all. Sami has to discard the 4 of spades. In the north hand, east plays the queen of diamonds, and dummy wins that trick with the ace of diamonds. So, despite his little subterfuge, Sami's now driven back on the club suit. Plays the 5 from dummy. Deceptive 8 from west, Zia. Wins that with the king of clubs in his own hand. East plays the 4. And here comes the crisis. The 9 of clubs from north. Ah, there's the queen. The ace from dummy. And no more problems. And Sami has made a critical game.
If I understood Sami's comments, he was postponing his decision on the club suit, hoping that Zia would make a mistake?
Yes, of course, Zia's most unlikely to make a mistake. But it's a type of play that costs nothing. If by chance Zia had a slightly different holding in the spade suit, he might have been lured into opening it up. And if he had opened the spade suit, then Sami wouldn't have had to rely on the club finesse.
We've docked in Bergen, Norway's westernmost city and our last port of call. Gives us a chance to do some shopping and sightseeing. Now, Bergen takes great pride in itself. Composer Grieg was born here, for instance. And another creative son, a meteorologist this time, designed the system of weather forecasting that's used throughout the world. Small comfort, I suppose, when you can't actually stop the stuff coming down on you. Bergen isn't known as the city of umbrellas for nothing. Now, Tony Forrester and Zia Mahmood have taken to each other, which rather surprised everyone, not least the two of them. Tony certainly set out pretty well determined to disapprove of such a voluble character as Zia.
I have to tell you that's a little bit what I thought coming in to the tournament. I generally find that people who talk a lot, who are very sort of flamboyant, tend to be unable to really play the game. And I suspected when it got down to it that he would make an awful lot of mistakes underneath this flamboyance that he has. But that hasn't actually been true. That's the one impression that I've got of him, where he has definitely improved from what I expected. His technical ability is actually very considerable, nearly as good as mine.
I feel the technical side is over-impressed. I think it's the easiest thing in the world to be a good machine. It's the easiest thing in the world to know to bid well and to play the cards according to percentages. The most difficult thing in the world is to look at a human being and understand what are they thinking and why. To look at you when you hesitate and feel, why did he do that or why did she do that? And if I can get inside you, that's a skill that very, very few people can ever have.
But isn't that precisely what bridge players are not supposed to use? I mean, you told me earlier about a hand where Tony hesitated on the bidding. Because of that, you couldn't make the bid you preferred.
But you're talking about your partner. You cannot use your partner's hesitations. But I'm talking about the hesitations, the feelings, the vibrations of your opponents.
But in one game you're partnering him, but in another, you're actually his opponent. And you're trying to tell me that the understanding you gain as his opponent, you'll put out of your mind when you're partnering him.
Exactly that. That's exactly what you have to do. But it's more than that. You develop at a certain level, a kind of telepathy, a kind of sixth sense, a kind of mysticism about bridge that I can't even explain. I have so many times actually been in situations when I felt something is going to happen on the bridge table, and it has happened. And it has been almost like going to the mountains of Nepal and meeting a guy levitating in the air. It's so ridiculous and yet true.
You're serious?
I'm serious, and I can show you many instances of such seriousness.
You're throwing your eyes up to heaven.
Well, yeah, I mean...
They don't have them in Yorkshire, such
No,
things.
we don't have people levitating in the air in Yorkshire very often.
They come down to earth quickly.
He's just talking nonsense, isn't he?
No,
I think he's talking nonsense.
I can
yeah.
prove it to you. I can show you moments on the bridge table when I know what a person is about to do, and I will write down on a piece of paper, this is what they will do, and they will do it.
But this is all very well, but I mean, I don't know if you can remember a hand from early on in the tournament, but there was some hand where he opened 2 spades, where his object in opening 2 spades was to make me more upset than I appeared to be. Now, I wasn't that upset. Basically, what I was trying to do was create an image for that situation, to try and get things stirred up a little bit.
Bluff and double.
So, in fact, I was one ahead of him there. Now, he'll never admit that. In a million years, he won't admit that. But nevertheless, it was true.
No, I don't say that you always win in these games of the mind. But as long as you are able to play them, and not just play the games of technique, you have a chance to be something special.
It's the more interesting part of the game, actually, is the psychology of it all. It's one of the fascinations of bridge. That's why it's better than chess could ever be, because the better player you get technically, you reach a certain level where everybody has approximately the same technical ability, and no longer can you separate players.
And I ask one question of Tony. During the tournament, while we played, you kept cutting different partners. With whom, with which partner did he cut? Did he feel the strongest when he cut? And if he doesn't say it's me, then I give up the game.
You've answered the question. What would you have said?
What a chance. I have to admit I would have said him, yes.
Well, they've had to settle for being opponents on this hand, the 4th of the Chicago. Sami Kehela sits north, Zia Mahmood, the dealer, is east, Tony Forrester is south, and Pio Sundelin is west. And we're game all. Ooh, 17 points and an excellent 7-card club suit.
Yes, a fine hand, I agree, but a very difficult choice of opening bid.
2 clubs.
Just 4 points.
Pass.
Tony's unlikely to play a significant role in this hand.
A little better, 12 points.
The old style was to use 2 diamonds as a negative, reserving all other bids as positives. The moderns often use 2 diamonds as a positive. I wonder which school Pio belongs to.
2 diamonds.
Yes, he's a modern.
7 points and a 6-card spade suit.
Pass.
Yes, it's unwise, especially vulnerable, to compete when the opponents have shown great strength. And north-south take no further part in this auction.
3 clubs.
Zia naturally introduces his club suit.
3 diamonds.
Well, that shows a suit, but it doesn't, of course, disclose all his considerable reserves of power.
3 spades.
Zia's uncertain where he's going, and he may well be worried that it might be overboard.
4 clubs.
Giving a preference to Zia's first suit, but still keeping a lot up his sleeve.
5 club.
Doubtless relieved to have fallen on his feet. But Pio has a little surprise in store for Zia.
6 clubs. Pass.
So the contract is 6 clubs to be played by Zia Mahmood sitting east. And Jeremy, I was taught you needed a much stronger hand to open 2 clubs than East had.
Well, you were taught quite right, and Zia's choice of opening bid is indeed most unorthodox. It was inspired, I think, by the difficulties he would face if he opened 1 club and his partner responded 1 diamond. You see, if he rebid 3 clubs, that would be not forcing. He couldn't rebid 3 no-trumps, or any number of no-trumps, with a singleton heart. So he would be forced to rebid either 1 spade or 2 spades, both of which are, to put it mildly, extremely uncomfortable.
Are there any problems in the play of 6 clubs?
6 clubs? No. It's absolutely ironclad. You can see there are 7 club tricks. There's the ace queen of diamonds opposite the king jack 9-8. That's certainly 3 diamond tricks making 10. The ace of hearts in the west hand making 11, and the ace of spades in the east hand making 12. So no problems there. And in fact, 7 no trumps would be equally ironclad, because now there are no problems with the entries. You've got 7 club tricks, you've got 4 diamond tricks, they can't get at you, and the 2 major suit aces, so that's 13 tricks. The only problems that would arise in 7 clubs is if the defence unkindly led a heart, removing your entry from dummy before you were ready to use it. Well, we're not going to examine the best line of play. If that should happen in 7 clubs, it didn't, and it will leave the real puzzle solvers happy to contemplate that without any assistance from us.
So, quickly on to another hand. The second hand of this Chicago. Sami Kehela sits north, Pio Sundelin, the dealer, is east, Zia Mahmood is south, and Tony Forrester sits west. North-south are vulnerable. Nice hand. 6 clubs, 14 points, and void diamond.
1 club.
That's a natural opening bid, of course.
11 points and good diamonds.
2 diamonds.
Impeccable for once. A good suit and good playing power.
9 points with 6 spades.
2 spades.
The standard response, ignoring the intervention.
Well, 6 points, but lovely support for his partner's suit.
3 hearts.
Yes, in normal circumstances, that could be a little dangerous because it's technically not forcing. But Sami Kehela knows that the bidding will not die here.
Four diamonds.
A Q-bid, showing his diamond control and implying support for his partner's suit, spades.
Pass.
Quite right. It's futile to double in this situation. It only helps the enemy.
4 spades.
Backpedaling because it looks as if the ace of diamonds is not pulling its weight. Remember, his partner has Q-bid diamonds, suggesting a void.
Five diamonds.
Quietly admitting to his diamond support. And this is the time for muck or nettles, as Tony Forrester might say.
5 spades.
Well, I don't know what that'll bring, but I don't think it'll be any orange blossom.
Pass.
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 Pio had a chance to bid a slam there, and he didn't. Is that a mistake on his part? Has he put himself out of the competition?
It was a strategic mistake, because in order to win this tournament, he's got to overtake Zia, with whom he's going to play the last rubber. And this was his only practical chance of doing so. I won't say it was a cowardly mistake, but what I would say is it showed a slight ignorance of the terms of the contest.
So the contract is 5 spades to be played by Tony Forrester sitting west, and a bit of an anticlimax.
Well, there are really 2 points here. One, a technical one, and secondly, a strategical one. And you remember that Pierre Sundelin, sitting east, opened the bidding with 1 club. Mahmood, south, bid 2 diamonds, and west, Tony Forrester, made the natural response of 2 spades. Now, north came in with 3 hearts, and at this point Pierre Sundelin made undoubtedly the correct call of 4 diamonds, showing his diamond void and confirming spades as trumps. That went round to Tony Forrester west, who signed off for the moment with 4 spades. Now north showed his diamond support with a bid of 5 diamonds, and so it was back to Pierre Sundelin to make what was to be the critical bid in this auction. Now let's look at his hand, which we can see there, and see what should have been the considerations that affected him in a technical sense. He's shown his spade support by implication. He's shown his diamond void or his diamond control expressly, and he has indeed opened the bidding. But it would have cost absolutely nothing in the context of this auction to give his partner 1 more prod by showing his first round heart control, that is to say, by bidding 5 hearts, and at least extending an invitation for his partner to bid the slam. And I feel that was a really pretty poor mistake in a technical sense.
Well, let's come back to why I think it was a mistake strategically. Can you explain that more fully?
Yes, well, you see, Pierre is very much a sort of, how shall I say, he's a theoretical player. He knows that to bid a slam you need odds of even money. You shouldn't take wild chances when you bid a small slam. You must have tremendous odds on if you're going to bid a grand slam, at least 2 to 1 on. But here you see the whole fate of the contest, as far as he was concerned, could indeed have lain on this particular hand. He didn't need odds of even money. Even if that slam were 20 to 1 against, it would have been right to bid the slam. Because, after all, if he made the slam and that let him win the contest, he was going to win £10,000. So he should take a chance. He should throw his hat into the ring. He should be the great man, instead of which he let his opportunity go.
Right, well, let's see what happens anyway.
So north leads the 8 of clubs. East plays the 2. South, Mahmood, plays a deceptive jack. And west wins with the ace. And of course, this hand all depends on the spade suit, the trumps. So west plays the jack of spades, queen of spades from north. East, the king. South wins with the ace. Only hope. Yes, here's a club ruff. He plays the 10, the 3 from west. No luck. North discards the 4 of diamonds, and east wins with the king of clubs. And now, of course, there's no further problem for west. Tony Forrester, declarer on this hand, all he has to do is draw the 2 remaining trumps. All dummies clubs are good, and so there's no problem whatsoever. He makes 12 tricks. And you know, part of the fascination of this hand lies in what might have been. Supposing that west and east had bid 6 spades, would they have made it? Would they have allowed Pierre Sundelin to get back into real contention in this contest? Well, it depends on the opening lead. If north had led a heart, then south would have ruffed, and the contract of 6 spades would have failed. And then again, had east-west bid 6 spades, would zero south have doubled to suggest an unusual lead? Alas, we'll never know.
But we do know the results for the tournament so far. Pierre Sundelin is at plus 18. Mahmood has taken the lead again at plus 44. Sami Kehela is down to plus 38. And Tony Forrester marginally improved at minus 100. Zia, we've seen the lead change between you and Sami a couple of times already. We're getting well on towards the closing stages of the tournament. Is that affecting the strategy of how you play particular hands?
It does to a small extent, and it'll get more so as we go along. Because for a start, already it's not so relevant what happens when I play with Sami. It's more relevant when I play against Sami that I do well. Because if we win together, the lead remains the same. But also, as a person has a higher lead, so much the more he must insure his lead and take insurance during the play and the bidding of hands.
And does this affect how you play against the other two as well?
It affects it, but again, it affects it according to how much the score difference is. Against Tony, it's really not relevant individually between Tony and myself what happens in the score, but it does matter on who his partner is, how I must play and how strong I must play on that rubber.
And Pio?
Pio, yes, well, it was very important a little while ago, but just the hand you saw just now, I think that hand in itself describes the difference between Pio's attitude and my attitude, how I can win and he can never win. Because for him, the game is purity at every moment. But for me, it's only about winning. And to win, the hand that he had no option but to bid 6. He shouldn't have thought, he shouldn't have looked at his hand, he should have shut his hand and bid 6. And if he made it, he was there and he was going to have a very, very good chance to win. But if he didn't win, even if he didn't bid it, no matter what happened on that hand, he had to lose the tournament. And I could never even live with that for one moment.
But aren't you taking decisions that are unfair on your partner? Decisions which might help you win the tournament but won't help him win the rubber?
I didn't come here with a partner. I came here with myself, representing myself, perhaps my country as well, and I came to win and not to give anybody else a chance.
Well, thank you. Now, throughout the series, Jeremy Flint has been keeping you entertained with bridge problems. Well, today he's got the very last one for you. But first, he has the solution to last week's.
Last week, I set a bidding problem in 2 parts. Now, Zia sat east, Zia Mahmood that is, and he decided to open with 2 clubs. Although a few points short of the standard requirements, Zia foresaw the almost insoluble complications which might follow an opening bid of 1 club. As to the second part of the problem, what you should bid if you do open 1 club and your partner responds 1 diamond, there are, I suppose, 3 possibilities, all unattractive. 3 clubs, 1 spade, or 2 spades. The objection to 3 clubs is that it is not forcing and a distinct underbid. 1 spade might work well, provided West bids again. 2 spades is probably the best of a bad lot, because if you later repeat your clubs with sufficient insistence, West will at least entertain the idea that your spades are insubstantial. This week's problem is a dummy play problem. As East, you arrive in 6-note trumps, with no opposition bidding. South leads the 10 of spades, and you win with the Queen. You play the 4 of diamonds from dummy, on which North discards the 4 of hearts. How do you recover from that nasty break?
And as usual, you can find the details of that in this week's Radio Times. And Jeremy will have the results to it in next week's programme. But for now, from Jeremy Flint and me, goodbye.
And this week's bridge problem and the answer to last week's can be found on CFAX, page 266. And next week's Bridge Club is at the later time of 5:40. For a copy of the booklet featuring the hands played in the International Bridge Club series, along with the bridge problems and their solutions, send a £2 cheque or postal order made payable to Broadcast Support Services, 2, International Bridge Club, PO Box 7, London, W3 6XJ.
Present series of International Bridge Club.
bridge tournament has entered its final stage. We've just 4 more hands to play, the last Chicago. And the tournament's developed into an intense duel between the defending champion from Pakistan, Zia Mahmood, and the Canadian challenger, Sami Kehela. But before we tell you exactly how they stand, Jeremy Flint wants to resolve the bridge problem he set you last week.
Well, I asked you how to play 6 no trumps as East. You receive a spade lead, and when you played a diamond at trick 2, North showed out. Provided you kept your head when North showed out on the first rounds of diamonds, this shouldn't have been too difficult. You should win the ace of diamonds and continue with a low diamond, putting South in an impossible position. If he takes his king of diamonds, you have 3 diamond tricks to go with your 5 clubs, 3 spades, and a heart. If, on the other hand, he ducks, you win the jack of diamonds in dummy, return to hand with a club to take a heart finesse. The finesse loses, but you're home with 5 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, and 3 spades.
And on board here, the game is rubber bridge. At stake is £10,000. Neither the British challenger, Tony Forrester, nor the Swede, P.O. Sundelin, can hope to take the title. But a lot has been happening. Tell me, Jeremy.
Well, on the first hand, Sami Kehela made a small plus score. But on the next, he scored a game with 2 overtricks. And that's had the effect, as we can see from the scoreboard, of giving Sami a slight lead, eroding Zia's lead.
Yes, P.O. Sundelin is plus 11, Zia Mahmood is plus 41, Sami Kehela is plus 45, and Tony Forrester minus 97. And in fact, we join them at hand 143, the 3rd hand of this Chicago, the penultimate hand of the tournament. Sami Kehela, top right on your screen, is North, P.O. Sundelin is East, Tony Forrester sits South, and Zia Mahmood, the dealer, is West. North-South are vulnerable. And it's important to note that with Sami Kehela and Zia Mahmood playing as opponents instead of partners, whatever plus score one makes, it doubly penalises his rival. For example, if Sami were to make 200 points, the difference between them becomes 400. Now, 11 balanced points.
Pass.
Oh, a fine 18-point hand.
1 club.
As Kehela and Forrester play a 15 to 17-point no trump, this hand is too strong. And in any case, it's more suitable in make-up for an opening bid of 1 club.
5 hearts, but only 5 points.
Pass.
6 points and a 5-card spade suit.
1 spade.
No problem there. Automatic response.
Double.
Action man is there, showing hearts and diamonds. The only snag is he has 1 too few of each to please the purists.
Redouble.
That shows a strong hand and possibly a desire to punish the opponents for their impertinent intervention.
Two hearts.
P.O. has been asked to bid a red suit, and so he does so.
Pass.
Quite right. His partner's redouble asks him to leave the next move to him.
Pass.
When you've made an unsound call, suggesting shape that you don't have, you mustn't compound the error by bidding any more.
4 spades.
No beating about the bush. Sami bids the game.
So the contract is 4 spades to be played by Tony Forrester sitting south. And Jeremy, do you think Zia West's informatory double was prompted by his position as number 2 at this stage in the tournament?
Well, I think that's true. Of course, Zia likes to be in the bidding all the time in any case. But here, he senses that if Sami were to score a vulnerable game against him, it could well be fatal. And so, taking advantage of the vulnerability, he explores every possibility of finding a sacrifice. So, Zia has to find a lead against what could be the decisive contract.
Damn, they've got to game. Now we better beat this, so it's going to be perhaps the most expensive hand that I've ever played. Maybe £10,000 to win or lose. Now what can I do to defeat them? Well, it looks like I've got 2 diamond tricks. I need 2 more tricks. And my partner figures to have 5 or 6 points. If I was to assume he has about 1 trick in either of spades or clubs, I need 1 more trick in the red suits. And either he had the ace of hearts, or I need another diamond trick. If my partner's got the queen of diamonds, I can just cash out my diamonds. But say he had the jack, and Sami, who's shown a big balanced hand, has the queen. Maybe I could make 3 diamond tricks, even when Sami's got the queen, and my partner's just got the jack. Because the declarer would never imagine that I would underlead ace-king. It might cost me a lot of money, and it might be wrong, but what my heart tells me is I'm going to make the big lead of all times. I'm going to underlead the ace-king. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's the way I felt. Okay, here goes.
The 3 of diamonds underleading the ace-king against a suit contract. What a fantastic lead. The 2 from dummy north, east the jack, and south Tony Forrester wins with the queen of diamonds. And I wonder whether he's got a glimmering of what that opening lead was from. Anyway, plays a trump from the south hand, west follows with the 2, the ace from dummy, and east follows with a 7. And now he decides to eliminate the hearts, plays the ace from dummy, the 2 from east, the 8 from the south hand, and the 4 from west. Cashes the king of hearts from dummy, east follows with a 3, plays the 10 from his own hand, and west plays the 5. Plays a spade, east follows with the 8, south takes that with the jack, and west follows with the 10, and now all the opposition trumps have gone. He's got to do something about the clubs at some stage or another. Yes, he plays one now. The 7. West plays the 4. And north plays the king. And east the 6. And of course what he wants to know is, where's the ace of clubs? Well, try and find out a bit more about the hand. He's going to try and clarify the diamonds. The 6 from north. The 8 from east. The 10 from south. West, Zia Mahmood wins that with the ace, superficially denying the king. And now Zia Mahmood West plays a small club, and Tony's got to guess whether West has got the ace of clubs and East has the jack, or whether West has the jack and East has the ace. And a lot of money could hang on this.
This is a decision I did not want. Here I am, I'm 1,000,000 points down, and the entire tournament is likely to hang on a decision that I make. Is Sami going to win, or is Zia going to win? It's what I do. It's a big responsibility, and I've really got to make a decision that is based more on fact than on any hunch I might have. Well, what do I know about it? I mean, Zia appears to have underled an ace-king at trick 1. I mean, that's normal for Zia with 2 hands to go. That's what I expected him to do, something like that. But would he have done that necessarily with any more cards outside? If he had another ace, for example, that gives him 3 tricks in his own hand. It's even more dangerous than even he might wish to contemplate. And I think he's probably going to have a heart on her as well. So the ace-king of diamonds and a heart on her, that means he's passed already in the bidding when he was first to bid. He's not going to have 12, 13 points. So it looks like it's right to finesse the 10 of clubs. And I've got to go on what it looks like. I can't go on my own hunches. I'm going to put the 10 of clubs in. Good luck, Sami.
And so, after careful consideration, he plays dummy's 10 of clubs. loses to the ace on his right, and he follows with the 8. And so it's a question of well done, Sami. And that's the end of it. He loses one more diamond, but he's made his contract. And the effect of that is that it extends Sami's lead over Zia to an almost unsurmountable 16 points.
Yes. Well, Tony's analysis of his options there was fascinating, especially as he arrived at the right solution. So let's see the hand again.
Well, first of all, of course, one has to look at that lead of West's, Zia Mahmood's, the 3 of diamonds under-leading the ace-king to 4 against this contract of 4 spades. Well, first of all, how many people would think of such a lead? And then, having thought of it, how many people would have the courage to make it? Perhaps it traces to the mystic powers he claims to possess. Anyway, North followed with the 2 of diamonds, East with the Jack of diamonds, and Tony Forrester South won that with the Queen of diamonds. And knowing Zia as he does, suspected what that lead, fantastic as it was made from. Anyway, he decided to tackle trumps, played the 3 of spades, West followed with the 2, he won that in dummy with the ace, and East followed with the 7. And in order, perhaps, to arrange for elimination possibilities in the endgame, he decided to get rid of the hearts. So he cashed the ace of hearts in the north hand, East followed with the 2, South the 8, and West the 4. Completed the process by playing the king from the north hand, East followed with a 3, South the 10, and West a 5. Now, he returned to his own hand by playing the 5 of spades in the north hand, 8 from East, a Jack from the south hand, which drew the last remaining defensive trump, the 10 from West. So he's got to do something with the clubs, and so he played the 7. West the 4, wasn't going to commit himself at this stage, obviously, so he put the king on from dummy, which was allowed to win. And now, to try and confirm his impressions about the lie of the diamond suit, and thereby assist in his deductions about how the clubs lay, he played a diamond from dummy, the 6. East played the 8, and South played the 10, and Zia, in an attempt to confuse, won with the ace. And, of course, Zia, knowing very well what the hand was about, tried to make it as difficult as possible, and before South could form any exact conclusions about the diamonds, he put Tony Forrester to the test right now by playing a club. And what Tony Forrester had to work out was who had the Jack of clubs and who had the ace of clubs. And £10,000 hung on that decision. And eventually, after careful analysis, working out that West had probably got the ace-king of diamonds, and almost certainly a heart picture because he'd made an informatory double, he concluded that East must hold the ace of clubs. And so he correctly put on the 10 of clubs from dummy. That drew the ace from East. He played small, and that was virtually the end of the hand. The defense could take one more diamond trick. They were welcome to it. Tony Forrester had made his contract, and Sami Kehela had extended his lead.
Well, Jeremy, we've reached the final hand, and I think it's a great pity, but P.O. Sundelin and Tony Forrester are well and truly out of it, aren't they?
Yes, that's true, but you know, they've still got a critical role to play. Just imagine how they'd feel if they made a terrible blunder with each of their respective partners.
They'd really dump on them, wouldn't they?
Well,
what do you think's going to happen then between Zia Mahmood and Sami Kehela?
Well, on the face of it, it looks as if Sami's got a completely unapproachable lead. But Zia is Zia, and if anyone's going to get an 800 penalty or bit of slam, it'll be him.
Do you really think he could do that?
It's odds against.
Well, let's sit back and see what happens. So Sami Kehela, the dealer, sits north, P.O. Sundelin is east, Tony Forrester sits south, and Zia Mahmood is west. And we're game all. 9 points, but no shape.
Pass.
Well, normally, that's no semblance of an opening bid. But as he will win unless Sear makes a slam, the two aces might make an opening bid a legitimate gamble. True, he could lose an 800 penalty, but there's something to be said for that bid all the same.
Well, that's a dull hand. Only 8 points.
Pass.
Oh dear, another featureless hand and 7 points.
Pass.
I'm sure Tony would like to bid because he understands the tactical position all too well. But Tony can't afford to make an unorthodox bid in his supporting role.
Ah, well, this is much better. Nicely balanced 16 points. But a lot depends on this. What would you bid at home?
Pass.
Well, that's remarkable. He's got 16 points. Surely he must bid.
Well, don't forget he needs a slam. And despite his 16 points, once his partner's passed, prospects of a slam are negligible. So Sear's pass is completely logical.
Well done.
So what happens now?
Well, I think they have to replay it. Yes, there's Michael Green, the tournament director, coming across, instructing them to redeal.
So you mean Sami's got to go through the agony of defending his lead again?
I'm afraid he has. But don't forget that Sear has still got to make a slam or extract an 800 penalty, and the odds against bidding and making a slam are very considerable.
So Sear's got himself a second chance. Can the cards possibly fall his way this time? Let's see. Lord, what a hand. Just 3 points. He must be very disappointed to see that.
Pass.
No conceivable alternative this time.
Ah, now we must get off the ground. 18 points and both majors.
1 heart.
No need to rush.
Oh dear, just 6 miserable points, even with his 6 spades.
1 spade.
Tony's a fighter to the death.
The fates seem to be lining up in his favour. 13 points, 5 diamonds and a fit for partner.
2 diamonds.
That's the standard exploratory response.
Pass.
2 no traps.
Showing his power. The singleton king of diamonds is really an insignificant flaw.
Pass.
3 clubs.
Delicately probing, like a brain surgeon, trying to discover whether 6 diamonds or 6 hearts will be the better contract. Of course, he's totally committed to a slam.
Pass.
3 spades.
A cue bid, showing control of the enemy's suit.
Double.
A final defiant gesture.
6 hearts.
Sear has heard enough. Now the play's the thing.
So Sear's got his slam contract, 6 hearts, and he has to sit and watch his partner, P.O. Sundelin at East, play it for him.
Yes, and that could be a greater test of nerves than playing the slam himself. So Tony Forrester leads the Queen of Spades, and Sear puts down his dummy.
Thank you.
And P.O. Sundelin East has got plenty to think about here. Whether to play on cross rough lines, establish the diamonds. There are many choices. And even without the tension of What's at stake? This is a tricky hand in the play. Goodness me, he's played quickly. The 6 from west, the 4 from north, and he wins. I have a feeling that this, I mean, perhaps he just wanted to make certain it wasn't going to be roughed. He certainly played very quickly.
Pio must take this one step at a time. Ah, he's thinking now. This is real nail-biting stuff. He's got to make this slam to win the tournament for Zia. Or else Sami wins. How he can think under these conditions, let alone find the right line for the slam, I just don't know. It must be agony for the others, too. The sort of card Sami's been dealt, well, there isn't much he could do conceivably. But even so, he must be hoping that somehow Pio makes a mistake, loses the contract. Through it all, they've got to remain imperturbable, or at least appear to be so. And that for Zia must be a superhuman effort. The longer Pio takes, the harder it must be for all of them.
And he's certainly got plenty to think about. I mean, there are at least 2, if not 3 ways to play this hand. Should you attempt to bring the diamonds in from dummy, release the king of diamonds, go across to one of dummy's hearts, and hope to bring the diamonds in for discards of your black losers? Should you play to try and rough spades in dummy? Or should you try, perhaps, some sort of high cross rough, using dummy's ace and king of hearts to rough your black suits and relying on those heart intermediates? Oh, I don't know. This is a very tough hand under any circumstances. He's made up his mind. He's released the king of diamonds. South follows with a 5. West with a 4. And north with a 2. Could still go either way. He plays the jack of hearts. This could be critical. Going to take the finesse. Ah, there's the queen. That will simplify his task. The ace of hearts from dummy. North follows with a 2. Is he going to take another round of trumps? Yes, plays the king of hearts. North follows with a 4. East plays the 7. South shows out. The trumps are 4-1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He can over-rough anything. And, well, at times it's right perhaps to have a little peep at the north-south cards. And what we see is very good news for Pio Sundelin and very bad news for Sami. Because, you see, those diamonds couldn't be more kindly distributed for east-west. Because in the north hand you see the jack and the 8 of diamonds. And all that Sundelin East has to do is to play diamonds from the top in the west hand. North will have to follow to the first 2, and then he's subjected to the hammer of the other diamonds. He may rough or discard as he pleases, but there are no more problems for Sundelin. And so Sundelin plays the ace of diamonds from dummy. Kehela sadly follows with the 8, the 5 of spades from Sundelin, the 3 of diamonds from Forrester. Queen of diamonds from dummy, the jack from Kehela, the 10 of clubs from Sundelin, and the 6 of diamonds from Forrester. And he leans forward. He's claiming 13 tricks, a gesture of resignation from Kehela. It's all over.
So, Zia Mahmood retains his title as Canberra World Bridge Champion. In spite of his confidence at the outset of the tournament, even he must agree it's been a very closely fought game. That must make his victory even sweeter. Well, that was absolutely riveting. Wonderful bridge, eh, Jeremy?
Incredible. I mean, if anyone had written a script like that, no one would believe it.
Well, looking back at the tournament as a whole, has it been a good one? Good play?
Yes, I've been very struck by the standard of play. The card play, very few errors indeed. And as compared with last year, for example, the bidding has been pretty good.
Tony Forrester, though, seemed to feel that he'd not had very good luck with the cards.
No, I think with justice. I think he's had appalling cards, and on top of that, some of his partners have played rather poorly with him.
And, of course, Zia Mahmood's had the luck of the devil, hasn't he?
You couldn't describe it otherwise.
Well, now, I'd like you to assess how each of the four have played. Let's start off with Tony, then.
Well, I've been most impressed with him. I mean, he is an extremely good card player, and yet at the same time he's adapted himself well to the various bidding styles of his partners, with a conceivable exception of his partnership with P.O. Sundelin, which didn't seem to gel.
Well, how did P.O. himself play, do you think?
I was a fraction disappointed with P.O. He seemed to me to be slightly out of form and didn't adjust so well to the conditions of the contest as some of the other players.
And what about Sami Kehela, the runner-up?
Well, what can you say? I mean, it's so cruel that he should have to lose. He played so accurately, and his unruffled calm is a marvellous object lesson to any young player who's going to take this game up.
And Zia Mahmood, who kept his title.
Well, what can you say? I mean, the luck of the man, the cheek of the man, the gall of the man, but he is the man.
Well then, can you tell me what the scores are?
P.O. Sundelin, Sweden, plus 19. Zia Mahmood, Pakistan, the winner, plus 49. Sami Kehela, Canada, plus 37. And Tony Forrester, England, minus 105.
And so it's all over, bar the congratulations. Commodore John Chester presents the champion Zia Mahmood of Pakistan with a cheque for £10,000 and a magnificent set of silver cutlery. And at last, after what's been a gruelling tournament, everyone can relax. It's good to know they've all emerged with their egos intact. Not even the rather private P.O. Sundelin was overwhelmed by Zia Mahmood's ebullience. Zia went into the lead and seemed to have defeated the rest of you almost from the word go. Did you find him a very overwhelming bridge player?
No, not at all. He's different. He's manoeuvring a little and he goes his ways, which are not always the same ways as other players.
The wrong way round it is.
He says, I'm the world's greatest bridge player.
Yes, you deserve
it. Tony, was it worth the agony?
I think looking back on it, it was, yeah. But if you'd asked me that just when the tournament finished, I think I'd have said no, it wasn't.
What do you feel you've learned from the tournament?
Well, people have told me that I must accept my reverses with greater equanimity, and okay, yes. I mean, if everybody tells you that, then you have to put that sort of thing into practice. But I've learned that this kind of tournament really is very, very tough. I mean, all the other three guys have played very, very well. And, well, maybe my turn will come in the future.
Now tell me, have you enjoyed playing in the tournament?
Yes.
But you must feel disappointed that you came within a hair's breadth of winning.
True, but I think I played all right. And losing to one of the world's greatest players is no shame.
Thank you very much. You were very confident from the word go, at least publicly. Did you feel that confidence throughout?
Well, sometimes it's better to sound confident whether you are or not. And actually, I thought this was a very tough competition. In fact, it boiled down to one of the most closest finishes I've ever been part of. With Sami and I being so close, it really did mean at the end that somebody up there liked me more than they liked him.
So you're putting your victory down to luck with the cards rather than your brilliant play?
No, it's not only that, but the elements of luck do take place, and some of the players here were very, very high standard players. But I also believe some people have a winning quality about them, and just the combinations make them win more often than others.
Is this all part of your psychological game, then, with bridge?
The games are over now, it's time to go home.
In 10 minutes over on BBC One, we discover if there's a crack in the wedding bells as Gladys agrees to tie the knot with squadron leader the Honourable Clive Dempster, amid opposition from Dempster Hall. Here on 2, it's the matters affecting the upper house at Westminster, as Christopher Jones looks at the week in the Lords.
That's to play it faster. Yeah. And then slowing down. Now, not too much. This is too slow. It became now too slow. The tempo primo just 120. Hey, pop, pop,
I was wondering about whether that was too soft, the tempo one, because we're really at the kind of climax. I think it's fortissimo.
But if I play wild more than with some of the wrong notes, that is just wild.
I think that's good.
Big.
I think it's good.
You want a long note, so you have it.
Wild.
You have it. You have it.
And then we can go meno forte.
Okay. Marie, watch that. It's too heavy. The contrapoint more than the melody.
Oh,
Yes.
That's why I was going ahead.
Hold
But maybe
here.
Hold here. Yeah, that's it.
Because I can't get... All right, so that is good luck for us. Good luck all of us. That's difficult.
I think I'm a bit early in the 5/8.
Which one, David?
Digga, 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 digga. And this is just 3-2-6, 3-2-5. I'm a bit early there.
Yeah, but I didn't find anything wrong with it.
Okay.
What was wrong here? Oh yes, who plays? This one comes here. The 16ths are too soft. It's finishing the piece. It's not even much louder. It's just a bit clearer.
The session moves on to the second movement, and Bartók's famous evocation of night and the natural world.
Then the first piano begins is nostalgic, beautiful. Very far away and beautiful and desolate. And I take over the same, but a little simplified. But there's an answer. And the percussion going on this. To a big crescendo with this wonderfully Bartókian sadness on. And slowing down and soft. And then comes the second intermezzo. This is the new speed. Night again. Misterioso. And the little timpani motif appears on the first piano. That build up, that getting me until the xylophone join and begin, and again dropping. The whole has two amazing aspects. The one is that using the percussion not as a percussion, using a percussion as a singing instrument. The percussion is singing, the timpani is singing, the xylophone is singing, and the piano is singing. And the whole movement, which he often has a night music atmosphere, is night. Night, mysterious night, loneliness, very much lonely music.
All the details that need to be done, and it really works. It's just
I know,
unbelievable.
it's so clear.
I don't know how he does it.
The evening session resumes. With little time left, there's still much to be done.
We are not in the present yet.
Is it page 13?
What is the first thing?
61, page 13.
All right, David.
Yeah.
But just practicing everybody piano. So it is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Maybe we're late, actually.
Yeah, I think so. That's it. It was for piano. Same 57. George, 69. All right, could you start 225? 1.
When I came across Murray and Sir George, really it was quite an experience because I felt that I had to keep very much in the background. I like to say what I think when it comes to music, but Sir George, for example, is very much a leader. I mean, he's a conductor at heart, and he conducts when he plays as well. Therefore, the piece is always moving forward.
It's true, we were both frightened of this piece, and so we delayed the rehearsals until, well, the last minute practically, but then we worked very intensively. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. He doesn't stop with the intensity and with the dedication to it. He's all there, however long. I mean, if you're working from 10 to 1, you're working from 10 to 1. There's no coffee break, there's no tea break. It's really intense work and totally with it.
It's not tight enough, that's the problem. It's not tight. A little tighter the 16th.
Well, we should definitely have another one from the top.
But not all of it.
Not necessarily.
Because we can't play off it, otherwise we can't make the first movement. I'm much too tired.
This is take 57. I think we had a better beginning on the earlier take.
Yes, yes, because we're getting tired. That's the problem. Don't let us play too much.
No, there's still some...
Well, we have problems. I have problems, but we had that many times from in the beginning, so I don't worry about that.
217, 215, 216. Those three. I never played that right.